school, they would be in the area. It was at Harp and Hop Springs, and they're just gorgeous.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. So you must live up to your name. Oh. Hey everyone, and welcome to Chef AJ Live. I'm your host, Chef AJ, and this is where I introduce you to amazing people like you who are doing great things in the show and on the show that I think you should know about. My guest today is Dr. Stephanie Peacock. She was on the show before, and I started following her on Instagram, and I started seeing like these beautiful recipes, and I'm like, hey, you got to come back and make one of them. So she's going to be making pancakes today. They're not only vegan and gluten-free, but they're SOS-free, which is something that's important to some people, not everyone, but at working at TrueNorth, that's something that either she knew instinctively or learned there. Please welcome her back, Dr. Stephanie Peacock. Nice to see you again.
Oh, it's so good to see you too. Thank you again for having me. I can't believe it's been almost a year since I was on last time.
But yeah, I can't believe I'm still broadcasting live every day. What started out just to be a little way to connect with my group turned out to a real thing. So I'm really excited about it. So how are things at TrueNorth, Dr. Peacock?
Well, things were good. Yeah. So I actually, Chef AJ, I moved about 2 months ago from TrueNorth. Now I'm living in Dana Point, California. So it's in Orange County. I miss TrueNorth dearly. I was there for probably like a year and a half or so. And I learned so much there, but we just ended up missing the warmer weather and just kind of decided to take all that knowledge with me that I learned there back here. So.
Oh, well, good for you, but not so good for Dr. Goldhammer. I'm sure that he was disappointed to see you go.
Just a little bit.
Oh, so are you still working as a chiropractor now in the Southern California area?
Yeah. So what I do now is I do mobile chiropractic. So I figured, with the recent pandemic, thing like that, things, became more remote and mobile for a lot of different people. So I figured, why not combine that with chiropractic? So what I do now is that, so I basically on my website at peacockchiropractic.com, I have a consult form that people can fill out. And basically I will travel to you if you're in the Southern California area, specifically more Orange County, because I'm not going to go usually to like LA or anything like that. But and I'll just bring my practice to you. I have a portable table and everything like that. And if they're interested also in discussing nutrition and different things like that, that's also something that I include with that as well. But so I do mobile chiropractic right now.
I have never heard of that, Dr. Peacock, and I think that's brilliant. I would pay for that because it just the time element, just when you work to have to get to a doctor and also just in your home, you're just so much more comfortable and you can relax and you don't have to wait in the waiting room with a bunch of people. I think that's brilliant. Do you have like a little van that says like mobile chiropractic? Drive around it?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's a good idea. I have a big pickup truck right now that I use, but that's actually a smart. I never even thought about that.
Well, you know what you can do, even if obviously you don't necessarily have to change your vehicle, but I used to do this and it's great advertising. You can get these like large magnets that won't hurt your car that you can take on or off so that when you're driving around, you could be advertising your business because you never know. I mean, there might be somebody that wants that service but doesn't even know it exists.
That's a fantastic idea. I didn't even realize that you could have like magnets that you could take on and off the car. That's
absolutely. I used to do this, and I'll give you the link that I have to do it. But it's so great because that way you like if you're doing something and you don't want to be bothered, you don't put it on. You take it on and off very easily. It's very safe for the car, and you can change it up. And I think that's great because how far will you go? Because I would sign up for you.
You're in Palm Springs, right?
Yeah, that's too far, right?
Well, a little bit far, but if I'm ever out that way, I'll let you know. Yeah.
I'm a homebody. People think of me as this extrovert because I've been traveling for years for my job, but there's no place like home. And even before the pandemic, we started using more and more in-home services, like, for example, the mobile groomer, which is, and that way the dog is less traumatized too, having to be in a cage. And so I love what you're doing. And I think you should just hire bunch of chiropractors everywhere and start sending them out. I think more people would do it.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Yeah, I love it because I love to just be on the move. Like I don't love sitting in one place for a super long amount of time. So I think this also really works for my personality too. I just kind of like to be moving and everything. So that's a great idea though. Maybe one day I'll expand.
That's great because I know some veterinarians do mobile work. I think that's brilliant. And the fact that your motto can be have table, will travel.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I love that. Awesome.
The last time that you were on the show, I learned about your history being like like a world-class athlete. And do you still have time to do that, to swim and whatever it is you like to do?
Well, so yeah, since we moved back, I actually so now I haven't been swimming quite as much, but I've actually transferred a lot of that into surfing. So I live like 3 minutes from the beach now, and so I just we put our surfboard, me and my husband, we put our surfboards in the truck, and then we just head over to the beach, and we've been surfing like almost every day. And so it's kind of like swimming, right? But yeah, so I get to still be in the water and everything, but more in the ocean. So I haven't been swimming as much, but yeah, I've been surfing a lot. So still
Now we know the real reason you left Santa Rosa.
yeah, hopefully Dr. Goldhammer isn't listening.
Well, Goldhammer's not listening, but there is a True North doctor that is watching right now, Dr. Strucker, who says, "Hey, Peacock, we sure miss you at True North. Patients adored her. Her active release technique is amazing, and she's an outstanding person and doctor." I've been trying to get Dr. Strucker on the show for over a year. Maybe you can talk to him and tell him it's not very scary on the show. And you get 2 free bottles of vinegar. Well, not every time you're on, but the first time you're on. So
that's definitely a good incentive. I love the balsamic vinegars from
So I noticed on your website, because I don't poke around all the time on everyone's website, that you actually even have a cookbook. So tell us a little bit about that.
So I love cooking, right? So yeah, so I'm a chiropractor and everything. I'm also a health coach as well. So but what I've transferred into the health coaching that I do for my clients and for my patients is I'm teaching them really easy ways to implement being plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free into their lifestyle, right? Because when you're switching into being, plant-based, it can be kind of overwhelming at first. You feel like you're giving up so much, but in reality, you're actually adding so much diversity into your diet. So I just try to come up with different ways for people to be able to implement this lifestyle into their everyday routine, right? So my cookbook basically just has a bunch of really easy recipes. I mean, they're like 10 ingredients or less. And like I said, I love cooking. So it's just me just in the kitchen, just coming up with different recipes that are my own. And yeah, they're all salt, oil, sugar-free. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack recipes, like nice cream, some brownies are in there, different things. I think it has between like 25 to 30 different recipes in it. So it's on my website at peacockchiropractic.com, and you can check that out there.
Good. I'll put a link to it. It's nice to know that you have that. We talk about SOS free, and people that aren't in our little circle, well, first of all, they don't know what it means, because SOS is the universal distress signal, but people don't know. A lot of people say I'm on the SOS diet when they really mean I'm on the SOS free diet, because almost everybody's on the SOS diet, eating a lot of salt and sugar. And what I love about doctors that either work at True North or even interns that work there a little bit, they're exposed to that. And that's such a different message than you'll get anywhere else, because even people that are vegan, and even people that are vegan and don't eat oil, they like sugar and salt, not so bad, and maybe not so bad, but not so good either, especially for people that are struggling with lifestyle conditions or food addictions or weight. So did you first learn about SOS free when you came to True North, or were you already a vegan? How did that work in your timeline?
Right. So I've been plant-based now for almost 4 years. And so when I first went plant-based, I didn't know about excluding oil. I thought oil, all types of oil, like coconut and olive oil, I thought they were the health oils for you. I thought you needed to make sure you included it when you were cooking and everything like that, right? I still included salt in my foods and all that type of stuff. So it was probably a year after I went plant-based, after Goldhammer. I think I just watched something on YouTube with him in it, and he was talking about being salt, oil, sugar-free. And so I switched over to excluding that from my diet, but it was definitely implanted in my brain, and I discussed it with my husband. We were definitely interested in it. So about 2 years after being plant-based, I took an observation weekend. So it's great because True North does these observation weekends where you don't commit to doing an internship. You can come for 3 days and just observe. You go with the rounding doctor, you go to the lectures, you're just observing kind of like what's going on there, right? And that's where I heard a bunch of different lectures about being salt, oil, sugar free and the importance of it, right? So I've been SOS free for about 2 years now. So I actually had it already implemented into my diet before I had started working at True North, which was really great too, because I had already been living that lifestyle and realizing how great and anti-inflammatory and how much better I felt just excluding the salt, oil, and sugar from my diet, right? And so then I was able to really discuss that with patients at True North and the importance of including that, because a lot of people still come into True North, they don't realize, oh, like I'm vegan, I'm fine, right? But no, it's like, we definitely need to decrease the oil, decrease the salt a little bit. So yeah, so that's pretty much the timeline for when I went salt, oil, sugar free.
Oh, that's so cool. I find that since I learned that from Dr. Goldhammer, it was the easiest tool in my tool belt to just manage my weight and just not overeat because it just gets rid of all the cravings. Because Dr. Goldhammer says salt, oil, and sugar aren't foods. They're chemicals we add to the food that fool our brain satiety mechanisms and cause us to overeat. And I find when you remove them, you just don't overeat. At least I don't.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. Salt basically is, yeah, I learned this from Dr. Goldhammer, right? It causes you to passively overeat, right? Because I guess probably because it's just tasting better. So yeah, so once you exclude that from your diet, you actually realize that you get fuller quicker, and so you're not overeating. And same thing with the oil, right? It's just so calorically dense. It's at 120 calories per tablespoon, I believe, right? It's just so super processed. So excluding those two things from your diet just makes a difference.
Yeah, nice. So, where do you like people to follow you on Instagram mostly? Is that where you're most active? Because that's where I saw your pancakes.
Yes, yes, I'm super active on Instagram. So they can follow me. So it's the acronym for Whole Food Plant Based. It's WFP_doctor spelled out. So they can follow me.
I put that link in the show notes, but I'm also going to put it in the chat. Oh my God, there's a big stack. I'm looking at it right now. There's you. Oh my God, your food is beautiful. You guys have to
Oh my
check
gosh,
this out.
thank you.
Oh my God,
Thank
I
you.
just look at that, and you're sprouting now. I can see. Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Oh yeah. Yeah. We have we just planted a big garden out in front actually. And we just planted like a huge trellis. We have like green beans and tomatoes and eggplants and all these different, it's so great because in Southern California, the temperature is much more mild resistant. So you can pretty much almost plant anything. So we're trying to grow a lot of our own food now, which is awesome, and lettuce and things. And yeah, we're sprouting a ton too. So yeah.
When it came time for us to leave Los Angeles, I was considering Santa Rosa. Number one, it was very expensive, but more than that, I remember the winters for 10 years when I was working there for the extravaganza, and I spent there, and it was so cold that the fountain they have in the middle of the courtyard, actually the bird bath would have icicles on it.
Oh, really? That's so funny. Oh my God. No, I remember I was pretty cool too. I'm a Floridian, right? I grew up in Florida, born and raised until I was 18. So I've pretty much always been used to pretty like mild climates. And we moved to Southern California and then moved to Santa Rosa. And when I moved to Santa Rosa, I thought the winter was absolutely freezing, even though I don't think it's as cold as other places in the country, but.
So what do you miss most about True North?
Oh, I really miss the staff. There's nothing like working at a place where every person is like on the exact same mission as you to basically be able to help people be plant-based and be salt, oil, sugar free, right? To maintain, lose weight, maintain their weight, get off their medication. You're pretty much almost seeing like what I thought was like a miracle almost every single day, like someone getting off their medication, completing a beautiful fast. I mean, we're seeing people fast between 30 to 40 days there. It's amazing. And just seeing the way their bodies just respond to that and this glow they have about them when they're finished with their fast, right? Because they're getting rid of all that inflammation. It was just being surrounded by people that live and breathe the mission. And then also just seeing the patients, each one of them leave ready to implement that into lifestyle. So I really do miss, I'm going to have to go back and visit soon. It's been only 2 months.
Have you ever personally fasted?
Have I what?
Personally fasted yourself?
Oh, I did actually. So I ended up doing a 5-day fast. My original goal was 10 days. Okay. And this was in February, this past February. So a few months ago. And so I ended up doing 5 days. I went in with 10 days, but then I got to the 5th day and I was like, I don't think I can keep going. So I'm happy that I ended up doing it because I have so much respect for everyone that does go through, right? Everyone's body responds a little differently to fasting. I felt, I had a lot of body aches and different things like that. And so I reached my goal by the 5th day. I felt really good. And I was like, okay, I think I'm good to go. But yes, so I did personally do a fast. I didn't do 10 days, but 5 days was enough for me.
Did you have body aches because of the fast or going into the fast?
Oh, because of the fast. So I was pretty lightheaded, body aches, pretty weak, different things like that. So yeah, I was like, decided to call it quit.
It just sounds miserable. I've never done it. I've been to True North a lot. I did a juice fast once and that was hard enough, but I really applaud people that can do it. And especially these master fasters that like keep coming back and do 40-day fasts like Christina. It's like, it blows my mind because if I miss a day, I just get hungry.
Oh my gosh, I was starving when I first started. All I could think about was food. I thought about food the entire time, but yeah. It's definitely intense, but it's amazing because 80% of your body's energy goes towards digesting food. So it's amazing when you take out those meals and you're not thinking about what your next meal is going to be. You're pretty much just sitting around and just allowing your body to use all that energy to basically heal all the inflammation that could be present, right? So it's a pretty amazing thing that they're doing there. So it was so fun to be a part of it. I'm so blessed that I work there.
Yeah, I just love what it stands for and how food is medicine. And I think about, I live in a retirement community, 55 and older, and I think about how so many people have such levels of debility and diseases and take multiple medications, just so that they can enjoy, what they think is delicious food and drink. It's sad, but that's what I love about True North, because once Dr. Goldhammer gets in your head, it's really hard to look at food the same way.
Yeah. 100% agree.
So Heather says, Dr. Peacock is amazing. Her active release technique is very effective. You were kind enough when I tore my rotator cuff to find me somebody locally that does it. And it was one of those things, I liked it, but I didn't. I mean, I liked it when it was over, but I didn't love it so much while I was having it, I got to tell you.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things where most of the time it's not that hurt good, like type, good hurt kind of feeling. It's pretty painful, but I mean, it's just super effective, right? Because you're really getting in there and you're breaking up the adhesions of the scar tissue that's built up around your muscles, your tendons, your ligaments, your nerves that are restricting motion and that are restricting, or that are causing pain, right? And can cause nerve sensations like numbness, tingling, different things like that. So I see a lot of people with different types of like nerve entrapments, rotator cuff injuries and sciatica and all different types of cases like that. And active release is super effective. So I use that in conjunction with the adjustments as well. So.
That is so cool. So pancakes, people think of them as something you put a lot of maple syrup on, and often comes from a box, but not yours. You make yours out of actual food.
Yes, actual food. Yeah. So, okay, well, great. I'll go ahead and get started on explaining what is in the recipe first, and then I'll start cooking. So, all right. So first I use, they're banana oat pancakes. They're salt, oil, sugar free and gluten free, which is really great. So first I use 2 bananas, make sure that they're pretty ripe, because the riper they are, the sweeter that it's going to be. I use 1/2 cup of soy milk. And so I love soy milk personally. This is organic soy milk. You can use any plant milk that you like. I like it, just makes it a little bit thicker, but it's my preference. And then here, this is 2 cups of ground oat flour. So you can buy your oat flour like already ground, right? But what I prefer to do is, since I already have oats like on hand all the time, because I love oatmeal and I bake pancakes all the time, why spend the money on buying the ground up oats, right? When you can just make it yourself. So what I do is I measure out 2 cups of oats and then I put in the blender and I just grind it. And then this just makes a nice consistency for a flour. And then I use some cinnamon. So this is Vietnamese cinnamon that I like to use. It's from Whole Foods. And I just use like a dash of that. And then I actually use a teaspoon of organic vanilla extract. I actually prefer to use vanilla powder. I ran out, so I had to go yesterday and get some vanilla extract. So usually I use vanilla powder, but
well, after my own heart, it's like vanilla powder. It's just so much better. And
it's so much better. Yes, so much better. You don't have the alcohol content in it. So yeah. And then to top the pancakes, I use a homemade date syrup. So you could use a maple syrup. It's gonna, there's no fiber in it, right? And so what I love about date syrup is that you still have that fiber content, and then, which is really important being plant-based. And then also too, it's super sugary. It's delicious. It's super sweet, and I love it. So how I make my own date syrup is I blend, it's 1 1/3 cup of medjool dates, make sure they're pitted, and then with 1 1/2 cups of filtered water. So that's what I usually do. And then I top it with some fresh berries. So I have berries here. So there are blueberries and some strawberries. And then also you can omit this if you like. I love to sometimes put a little bit of almond butter over my pancakes. You can use peanut butter, almond butter, whatever you prefer. But so I have a tablespoon and a half measured out here for that. So, all right. So first thing that I do here is I'm just going to peel the banana and just put it into the mixing bowl here.
When I asked you what you missed at True North, I thought you would say, the meals, because all the staff gets to eat every meal there if they want for free.
It's so funny. I can't believe that that didn't cross my mind. I guess I just really miss the staff. But yeah, I do miss the food too. I mean, being able to walk in and not, you don't even know what's going to be made. It's like a surprise every time, right? I mean, the salad bar is pretty much standard, right? The 24/7 salad bar where it's the raw food and everything. So I just mashed the bananas here with a potato masher. But yeah, no, I definitely do miss that. Ramsay's cooking. Oh my gosh, so good. So
does your family eat like you or any friends?
actually, my family does. My family is vegan and salt, oil, sugar free too. My parents are, my husband is, and a few of my friends are actually. Yeah, I've definitely turned on a few friends to eating this way, so which is good. Still working on a few though. But so yeah, so here, so I'm just gonna mash up the banana. So you're just kind of making it so that it's almost like a nice puree. And you can actually use a food processor for this recipe as well. I just didn't want to use it today just because it's kind of loud and noisy, right? So I didn't know how loud it would be. So I'm just using this. So, but you can actually use a food processor and that's super easy too. Just kind of get that on. All right. The next thing is I'm going to add keep adding the wet ingredients. So here is the mashed bananas. And then I'm just going to add in the soy milk in there. And just using a mixing spoon, just kind of get it all nice and mixed up together. And then I'll add in the vanilla extract or vanilla powder if you have that on hand. And here we go. So this is just 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract that I'm going to put in here. Okay. And mix that up so that just mixes nice and well together. All right. And then I don't really measure out the cinnamon, but I just put in like a dash of it, however much you like. So I just kind of put a few little dashes in that and mix that up. And then I'll put in the oats. And I wanted to chat about really quickly the oats that I like to use. So this brand here is a really awesome brand of oats that I've come across recently, actually. They're called Zago Oats. I'm not affiliated with them in any way. I just love them. So they're actually, they're third-party tested for glyphosate and over 400 different kinds of pesticides, actually. Even organic oats sometimes can contain those contaminants still in them. So that's actually what I really love about this brand. So, and I use their oats. So just wanted to share that. So
online, that sounds amazing because I've been learning a lot about glyphosate and all those other things. That's very cool. Would you get them online or Amazon?
Yeah, right now they're pretty small still. So yeah, you can only get them online. But what's really great about them too is that, so yeah, there's Zago Oats. Here's the name for anyone looking at them. So it's ZEGO. And what I love about them is, yeah, so a lot of oats are actually usually heated to basically roll out the oats, but these are actually cold pressed. And when you cold press the oats, you're actually preserving the protein and a lot of the digestive enzymes in them. So that's what I love about these. And there's probably another brand out. These are just the ones that I've come across that seem to be the cleanest right now. So that's what I use. And then, so yeah, so that's the 2 cups of oats here ground into flour, and then just go ahead and put it in your bowl there. And then I'm just going to mix it up here. And so it'll make a pretty nice consistency. And what I love about these pancakes too is that a lot of times, like growing up, like pancakes, they just always seemed like kind of airy and like they didn't really seem like super like filling. But these, since they're made from oats, right, they're nice and like firm, and I feel like they fill me up like super quick. And this recipe usually it yields between like 5 to 6 depending on how many you make. But yeah. So.
Have you ever tried freezing them? Because I think it would be good just to make a bunch of them like for like a month.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea. You definitely could. You could like double the recipe, you could triple the recipe for sure, and then just like freeze them. That's a great idea, actually, for sure. Actually, do that with your oh my gosh, your cram muffins.
Yes, absolutely. I do too. I love. You know, eat cook once, eat multiple times. That's what I say.
Exactly. All right, I'm just gonna turn the pan on right now. So I just put over medium heat. Now, actually, I'm going to go ahead and move this so that it's over here so that you can kind of see where I'm cooking. Right there. Is that okay right there?
I can see it looks like a black skillet.
Yes. Yeah. I'll put it right there. Yeah. So I'm just using a cast iron skillet. It's what I like to use personally. Okay, perfect. So I'm just going to let that heat on medium heat just for like a couple minutes before I start to put everything into the skillet. And then what I use to place them into the skillet, I actually use a ice cream scooper. It's so easy because then I just go in and I scoop it out and I can just put it on here and it makes a perfectly round pancake. That's what I found the easiest to make pancakes with. So I don't know if anyone else does this, but I do it. So it's easy for me.
Well, that's a great idea because then they'll all be the same size.
Right? Yeah. So that's what I love to do. They're great. Perfect.
Do you have any of my favorite kitchen tools like the Instant Pot or the air fryer?
Yes. Yeah. I don't know if you can see the Instant Pot. It's right there.
I can.
Yeah, I have the Instapot. I have a food processor. Yes, I have an air fryer right over there. It's actually a glass air fryer. It's not, it's called, so it has a funny name. It's called like the Big Boss air fryer, but it's a glass one because I recently discovered that some of the air fryers that you can buy actually use Teflon coating, which I recently discovered can be a toxin in our bodies. So we got rid of the one that we were using, and I've been using this glass one here. And it actually is really effective, and it's big too, so I can make like huge batches of things in there. So
If you have time when you're done with the pancakes, I'd love to see what it looks like, because it looks like in the world we live in now, everything's a toxin to our body.
I know. Yeah, that's what I've been discovering too. So yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I'll definitely show you after. Okay. All right, so I think everything's pretty good to go. Okay, so like I said, I use the ice cream scooper here, and then I'll just scoop each of these out and put it onto here. So I'll bring the camera up so you can kind of see it a little bit better. So this is kind of what it looks like then when you put it onto the plate, onto the skillet right there. So it makes like a nice round circle, which is nice. So they look pretty.
You normally cook one at a time and have.
I usually do, yeah, because then I'll start to get overwhelmed when I see like 3 going and I'm like, oh my God, I need to keep flipping them. So I just take my time. I just do a few at a time. So, but you can definitely do multiple, especially because this is such a large skillet. So you could definitely do probably 3 in this and be fine. But all right, so let's see. What's nice too is that it cooks super quick too.
On your Instagram page, it looks so beautiful with the fruit and then the background of the, looks like either the beach or something.
The
like
trees, yeah. We live like at the very top of this hill, and there's like these really beautiful palm trees right over there. So I'll take a lot of my food pictures out there. My neighbors probably think I'm crazy, but okay.
I'm looking at a picture, and you have a beverage, and you say is it taquino or ticino? My favorite non-caffeinated beverage.
Yes, yeah. Here, I have it here. I can show you. So they're a great company. Here. And so, yeah, so they're 100% organic, and they're non-caffeinated. And it has like a coffee-ish flavor, but they use like ground carob and chicory and dandelion root. So they're using herbs to kind of create this sort of coffee taste. So it's like a non-caffeinated beverage that you can make. So that's what I love about them. So,
Is it gluten-free by any chance?
It's gluten-free. Yeah.
Nice. You have a great recipe on Instagram for these oat bars I'm looking at. Oh man, they look amazing.
Thank you. The video one I did for those. Oh, thank you. I think I made a reel out of that one. Those are so much fun to do. I love making those.
I wish I knew how to do that.
to use it.
I don't know how to do anything. Like, I know how to do this. Thank goodness. I can get this show going. Yeah, they look great. I love it. Guys, check her out on Instagram.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, and then also in my Instagram too. So I'll just put the pancakes in here. So in my Instagram, I have, there's a link in my bio too for, for my website and everything like that. And, if anyone's interested in like health coaching, like, so what I do is I basically come up with meal plans for people so it's easy for them to implement this lifestyle into their everyday routine. And something that I love about this specific recipe that's easily it's very diverse and easy to use is that you can use this recipe, this pancake recipe, to also make like overnight oats. You can use it to make hot oatmeal in the morning. You can actually use these same ingredients. You wouldn't use as many of the oats, but to make a smoothie, right? You can put some oats in your smoothie with some berries and nut butter and the bananas and everything like that. And so I just I just think it's so easy when you can have all the ingredients that you need, and you can just make a very similar recipe every single day, but it might be a little bit different. So
I bet you could put that in a waffle iron too.
And a waffle iron. I don't have one of those. I do need one of those. I'm still diversifying all my kitchen equipment. But there is a few things that you've promoted that I have, like the one thing that cuts the onion and garlic. You can use it's like a kind of it's almost like a lawnmower type of thing. Like you pull it, and it's like a little spinning knife thing, and it will chop up the garlic and the onion. I don't know what it's called, but I have that. It's made my life so much easier with cutting onion. Okay.
Oh, the Vidalia Chop Wizard?
What was that?
Is it the Vidalia Chop Wizard?
Yes. Yep. Yeah, I love that. So so these are super easy to make. I love these pancakes.
Monarch is saying, I wonder how the pancakes would cook if done in the oven. It seems like it would take a lot longer.
In the oven? Oh, that's a good.
Baked pancakes.
What was that?
Baked pancakes, maybe.
Baked pancakes. That's a good, because baked oatmeal, I love doing baked oatmeal. Since these would be smaller and more spread apart, I'd have to test it out to see how long.
But that's a really great idea, actually. That'd be so easy. That way, that's a great idea. I can use that actually for my clients. An easy way to meal prep these during the week, right? So on Sunday, you just bake a bunch of these and they're ready.
Yeah, so then they could cut them and doesn't have to, pancakes don't have to be round. Who said?
Exactly. Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, so once the pan heats up, they actually start cooking like super quick. But yeah, so this is definitely one of my absolute favorite recipes. I think my parents make this recipe every weekend at home too. So, all right. Super easy.
Here's an interesting question. I don't know if you have the answer, but where in iodized salt, where does the iodine come from?
It's a really great question. I don't actually know. I think it's just somehow fortified in there because, right. Cause like not all salt has iodine in it, right? Like I think like sea salt doesn't have iodine in it.
Right.
So
I'm guessing they have to put them in.
I think they put it in kind of like the same thing with like fortifying B12 and like a nutritional yeast or like a soy milk or something, right? Like they usually do. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not sure. That's a good question. I think that they probably do just fortify that in though. But I love using like nori. I'll make like little sushi sometimes, and that's a really great way to just kind of get your iodine into. Just using something like that, or you can use like a supplement.
Do you remember what your favorite meal was at TrueNorth that the chefs served? I remember my favorite was when he would make scored potatoes. And he got so upset that I didn't like any of his fancy stuff, but I'm happy when you give me a potato.
Okay, I'm so happy that you said that because that's my favorite is when they roast the potatoes and they're like when they make the Hannah yams, when they specifically use those ones because potatoes are my favorite food. The lasagna, like all the food that he makes, that they make is absolutely amazing, but I love potatoes too. So I was like, I'm good with just the potatoes and like whatever the steamed veggies are and some of their dressing or something like that.
Because I didn't go to culinary school to bake you guys potatoes, but that's what we like.
I know. It's like we're too good. We just love very simple things. Yeah, but yeah, oh my gosh, their food was amazing. The lasagna they make is absolutely like fantastic though, and all the food is just so good.
Yeah, I love their soups. I love most of their soups. I just love, especially when it's got a lot of veggies and broth kind of soups.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and like sometimes you put ginger and things like that in. Here's a fun question. What was your ideal food to eat when you were training for the Olympics?
Oh, so I wasn't plant-based when I was training. And I wish that I was. So
hey, yo, would have made it. No, I'm just kidding.
I know, right? Well, the thoughts definitely got through my mind, but my ideal, honestly, I really ate a lot of pasta. Like I ate so much pasta when I was swimming. So, but I definitely topped it with things that were not plant-based. But I think that was one of the only things that would fill me up because I was burning so many calories every day and I needed that quick energy. But now there's so many great recipes. There's so many great foods that you can implement as a plant-based athlete. Now, there's so many people that are starting to implement that. And that's something that I love. I forgot to mention this is that I love working with athletes that are transitioning to plant-based because I have, since I have lived and breathed, being an athlete for 16 years, that I've been able to sort of come up with different ways to make sure that they're getting enough protein in their diet, like from whole food form and everything like that, right? Without having to use a ton of different supplements and protein powders and things like that and still hit your goal, right? Because as you're training, you're, breaking apart a lot of muscle fibers and you need to rebuild. And so it's important to make sure that, as an athlete, they are getting enough protein, right? So that's something fun that I love to do too, is being able to work with athletes. I love that. All right. So this one made 5 pancakes here. Okay. And then I'm just gonna put this here. All right. Let me just put this section there. Okay.
The cookbook you sell, that's an ebook, right?
Yes, an ebook. Yeah. Yep. All right, I'm just gonna move this back to over there so I can top the pancakes and it's easier to see.
The recipe is in the show notes, guys, and show notes you have to be on YouTube to see. So if you're watching on Facebook, we so appreciate when you go to YouTube so that you can see the chat.
All right, so here's the pancakes. So it made 5, which is really awesome. And you can definitely bake them or however you want to do it, right? So they're kind of starting to fall a little bit, but yeah, so what I love to do is I use my own homemade date syrup. Like I mentioned, I'll say it again. So you do 1 1/3 cup of dates, whole dates, pitted too. with 1.5 cups of filtered water. And that makes an amazing date syrup that I love. So
Do you soak it first, Stephanie, with Dr. Peacock, excuse me, before you put it in the microwave? A microwave blender. I can't.
I actually, it's good to soak before. I sometimes get a little impatient and I don't do it. And this wasn't pre-soaked, and so I didn't do that. But sometimes I do if I have more time. I'll soak them. But yeah, so you can see here, it's like really fun, like consistency, and still has all the fiber in it, which is really awesome. So it's super
So much
sweet.
better than using maple syrup, and it tastes better. And you can put a little vanilla powder in, and then it's like caramel sauce.
Yes. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, adding a little bit of that.
Hello, I'm a chef. That's why I put the recipes on my YouTube channel. But yeah, it's basically the 2 ingredients you mentioned, plus a little bit of vanilla powder, or you could use plant milk instead of the water, and you have caramel sauce. And what could be better on a pancake? And I like to put it in a little squeeze bottle, and then I can make pretty lines.
Yeah, that's a really great idea. I wish I had one of those right now. I'd make this look a lot prettier. All right, and then so then here's the nut butter. So I'm using almond butter. This is from Trader Joe's. It's organic and it doesn't have any salt in it. So usually I just try to make sure that, because a lot of nut butters, they will have like oil, they'll have salt in them. So just try to make sure, just read the back of the ingredients, just make sure. And this is also, this is raw almond butter, so it hasn't been roasted yet. So I love this kind. So I just kind of put a little bit on the top too. This is probably not going to look super pretty, but I just put a little bit there. And then I'll put a little bit of a dash of cinnamon over it just to kind of make them look fun. And then, yeah, just serve it with some cut up fruit, whatever fruit you love, right? So since they're already banana pancakes, I don't cut up bananas and put them on, although I do love bananas on my pancakes, but I just use fresh cut strawberries and blueberries usually, and I'll just kind of put them just around it and just eat it like that.
Have you ever like maybe tried to cook them with the berries actually in them, like raspberries or blueberries?
Oh yeah, definitely. You can. Oh yeah, I love doing that. That is such a great way to just kind of change it up a little bit too, right? And like, again, like we were talking before, it's like essentially the same ingredients that you're using, but you're just putting it into the pancake. So thank you for mentioning that. That's awesome.
Bananas are so awesome because I use them pretty much now in all my baking recipes, because then it cuts down on the use of dates. It's not that I don't use dates, but then I can use less because dates are so much more calorically dense than bananas, and they're also much sweeter. But like you say, if the banana is ripe, it's really the only sweetener you need.
I know, I 100% agree. I use bananas so much too. I love making ice cream. Like that's just one of my favorite things. And sometimes that's my breakfast is I just make like a bowl of, I just put a bunch of different fruits in there and I make like a delicious little like an ice cream sometimes in the morning. And I just love that, depending on the day. But yeah, I love it. All right. So,
did you give me the written recipe, or I can't, or just send them over to Instagram to get it? I'm trying to remember now.
I think I emailed it to you. I think I did email
I'm gonna
it.
check it out, and if it's there, I'm gonna put it in the show notes right now.
Yeah, and then if anyone can also reach out to me too on Instagram or my email. My email is drstephaniepeacock@gmail.com too, and they can always ask me any questions. But yeah, so here's the pancakes. So they're pretty much just covered in a little bit of almond butter, some date syrup, and then just some fruit and a little bit of cinnamon. And it's amazing. And they're super filling too. I mean, I'll split a stack of these usually with my husband, but unless I'm really hungry. But yeah,
that looks about 1 serving to me. Well,
yeah, this all with all the fruit and everything, it fills me up pretty quickly. But I'm not usually super hungry in the morning when I make these, so that's probably why. But yeah, depending on how hungry you are, you can definitely eat all of them or split them with somebody. But yeah, so this
I've never been hungry in the morning, and people say that's because you eat the day before. So I did an experiment, and I didn't eat for 1 day. And so meaning like on a Sunday night, I finished eating, I don't know, whatever time, 5 or 6. Yeah. And I didn't eat the whole day Monday. So that's the only time I ever fasted. And I woke up Tuesday morning and I still wasn't hungry. So I don't get it when people say, I just think people vary in when they're hungry. And that's why I don't like when people have to eat when other people tell them. I think you should eat when you're hungry. What do you think about that?
I 100% agree. I think you need to listen to your body. We're all different. We all have different, we're all different age, different body type, we're all different occupation, right? And so like different, energy expenditure throughout the day. And I think that just plays a big role into like when you're going to be hungry or just naturally too, right? And so for me, like you, I'm not super hungry usually in the morning. I can go a few hours after waking up. I usually work out in the morning and then I'll have like a tea and then I start to kind of get a little bit more hungry. And then I'm usually really hungry at night. But usually around like 4 or 5, like around dinner time, that's when I'm like starving. So that's just me. But my husband, when he wakes up in the morning, he needs to eat within like 10 minutes of waking up usually, unless he works
That's
out.
like my husband. You know,
Really?
is your husband tall and thin?
Yes.
I wonder if body type has to do with it, because my husband too, it's like on days once in a blue moon, if he has to have a blood test, he's like, oh my God, you know, and he tries to make the earliest appointment and he has food to cover. It's so interesting to me, you know?
Oh no, I know. I 100% agree. Yeah. So yeah, I think it just plays a different role with, every single person. Yeah. So yeah, personally, I'm not super hungry. So for me, my husband will actually usually eat even more of these than I will if I make them for us in the morning. But if I were to eat these at night, I could probably eat that entire stack.
I think breakfast makes a great dinner personally.
I love, yeah, definitely. Some hash browns, some pancakes. Yeah, I love that.
Susan said, do you have to treat your cast iron skillet with oil?
I do, but I use a very, very small amount of oil. Just because you do have to do that just to kind of prime it a little bit. And I do it after I cook. So I'll wash the pan and I put like, oh my gosh, it's a very small amount, like a drop or two. I put it and I just kind of like rub it over the pan or whatever. So yeah, it's a very small amount of oil, and then before I cook, I usually kind of wipe it clean, but yeah, I just use a very small amount.
Okay. Don't forget, you're going to show us your air fryer that's glass. I've never heard of that. And people are asking what the name was again, because I didn't quite catch the company name.
Yeah, so it's called Big Boss Air Fryer. It's a really funny name. Okay, so this is the air fryer here. Let me know if you can see it.
Wow, it's so different.
I know. I love it. I just got it like honestly a month ago, and it's really great. It has all these awesome like settings at the top there that you can set it up to like 480 if you need to. And like there's a timer here and everything, and you just lift the top off, and it actually has 2 trays here, like at the bottom, right? So you can make like a good amount of stuff in here. So we'll make like fries, or like if we do tofu night or something like that, you can do tofu in here. Oh, I mean, you can do anything in here really, but yeah. So it's called Big Boss Air Fryer.
That is so cool. So what kind of are you the primary food maker in your household?
Yeah, usually I am, just because my husband will cook for sure. He's a great cook, but I just love cooking. Like that's just like, I love being in the kitchen and coming up with new recipes or a different spin on something, right? So yeah, so usually I am the primary cook. So which is why I was really excited about this air fryer, because I was like, oh my gosh, it just makes so much. It's great.
What kind of things do you make for dinner usually?
Yeah, for dinner, it depends. Just usually depends on like what I'm in the mood for. So usually, I mean, my favorite dinner is usually just roasting a potato, like a sweet potato, and then I'll steam up some veggies. I have an herb garden out back, and so I just use fresh herbs and I steam them up that way in some water. And then I usually have a little bit of tofu with it as well. So I get some organic firm tofu and then cook that up. And that's usually kind of our dinner. Or if we're feeling like a pasta night, we usually do like a gluten-free pasta. So I love Bonza pasta. It's a chickpea pasta, and I love the taste of it. So I'll usually use that pasta, and it would just do that, and then just steam up some veggies and make a homemade sauce and just put it in there. So yeah.
Sounds great. People are asking where you buy the Big Boss.
You have to buy it online. So you can't order it. I bought this one off Amazon. And so you can't, I haven't looked for it in the store. It might be in the store, but I haven't personally looked, but I just ordered mine off Amazon. I honestly want to say it was between like $70 and $80. Like it's pretty standard. Like I think the other air fryer we got may have even been more expensive, but yeah, but I love it because it's not coated with Teflon, which is awesome. And a lot of them are. So yeah.
Cool. Monarch says, how did you get the pancakes so fluffy? Mine are super thin. I read somewhere once that sometimes putting club soda in makes, I don't know. I don't know why I have that in my head, that adding club soda to pancakes does something.
Oh, interesting. That's cool. I'll have to try that. I've never tried that before. You know what? I really think the reason mine become fluffy is, I'm telling you, using this ice cream scooper, I bought like a pack of 4 of these offline, and using the biggest one, it makes it nice and firm and round. And all I do is when I put it into the pan, I just kind of bop it down just a little so it kind of gets nice and flat. But they're pretty thick as I'm putting them into the pan. And so as I'm flipping them back and forth, so I don't make very thin pancakes. They're pretty thick as I'm putting them in. I think that's what maintains the consistency for them.
Yes, I just Googled it, and it said putting seltzer water in makes a light and airy batter.
Oh, really? That's really cool. I'll have to try that next time. See, I'm learning all these new things with you.
Absolutely. So you got to take all my ideas now. I'll be your marketing guru. Get those magnets, be driving around and
Great.
and maybe even, even like network with people out here. I would love my chiropractor to come over. It'd be so great.
Yeah, well, yeah, I have another friend of mine too who's doing mobile around here. I think it's starting to kind of catch on a little bit. I think more people are starting to implement that sort of, especially because of the recent pandemic, right? I think it's just been a lot easier to kind of travel around. So, but yeah, thank you for saying that. I love being a mobile chiropractor. It's really fun, and I get to show up to a different location every time, so it's fun.
There isn't there two schools of chiropractic or two schools of thought, like Palmer, and there's another, what there's two words.
Yeah, it's basically the two schools of thought are so Palmer was the founder, right? But from there it digressed into there being like the straight chiropractor and the mixed chiropractor. So like the straight chiropractor essentially just focuses on treating the spine, and so essentially they don't really adjust or treat with the muscles. So they don't do a lot of extremity work. They'll just basically adjust you head to toe from your cervical, from your neck, and then also down to your lumbar spine, right? And so and your sacrum. So, but the mixed chiropractor, and that's what I personally implement into my practice, is looking at the whole body and looking at like, okay, so a lot of times it's not just because the bone's out of place while you're having pain. A lot of times it can be an entrapment of your nerve. Muscles are really tight. And so there's a lot of different things that you need to work on, right? And there's different, techniques that you can utilize. I personally love the active release technique. It's what I've found to be the most effective in helping people. There's other great techniques out there too, for sure, but that's just what I love to use. That's what helped me through my swimming career, and that's why I got certified in it to help people with it. But yeah, that's pretty much the difference. Is so I do full body, looking, if their arm's hurting, I'm not going to go look at their sacrum. I mean, well, I will check that out too at some point, but I will obviously do a full evaluation in that area. So yeah.
Wow, because some people are afraid of like having their neck twisted,
Yeah, definitely. And I do have a few patients like that as well, where, they don't want to be adjusted, and that's totally fine. I can just do the muscle work, which is super effective. And then also too, what I also do is, I do something called mulligan mobilization. And so, instead of adjusting, you're actually, you're still bringing the joint to that end range, but you're applying like a soft pressure, like a few times, like you're doing a few sets and a few reps, and you're slowly, essentially kind of pushing it back into place without having to do that full thrust. Right. And so, because not everyone is going to want to get adjusted, and they're freaking out and get so nervous right before it, their muscles tense up, and then sometimes you can cause more harm than good. So I steer clear of that. If they don't want it, I don't do it.
Have you ever gone to Dr. Goldhammer for chiropractic? God, I loved seeing him. He just was so wonderful.
Yes. Oh yeah. I think I've been treated by him. I think I got a treatment from him like a week before I left, because I just love getting adjusted by him.
It's so funny when he goes, does that hurt? And you go, yes. And then he'll go, they're there. Just like that.
Or he's like, good. Yeah. So funny.
Yeah, gosh, Dina says, do you do any type of food combining with the food that you eat?
Oh, so like combining, like to make like a complete protein or things like that?
I'm not sure, sometimes people, the one thing I remember, melons, eat them alone or leave them alone. That's what I remember from the Optimum Health Institute.
Yeah. So you don't need to food. I don't do food combining. So your body is so intelligent and so smart that it's going to, from what you're eating through, as long as you're getting a diverse amount of food throughout the day, your body is so smart, and it's going to pick up the nutrients and the macro and all the different things that our body needs from that food. It's going to absorb that, right? And you'll get everything that you need from the food you're eating throughout the day. And so, yeah, there was this one school of thought that you needed, like I'll just talk about a complete protein, for example, like bean and rice make a complete protein. So eat it at the same exact time, right? And so that way you get that complete protein, but that's not true at all. You can actually eat it throughout the whole day. You have like this beautiful open window, like where your body is just absorbing it and it's storing it, and then it will match and pair it right with whatever else you're absorbing throughout the day. So so I don't do food pairing, and I don't think it's necessary at all.
Great, thank you. So you didn't happen to print out your ebook so I could look at it, or you could show people, did you? I sometimes do that with books. I know that's terrible, but
it's totally like, yeah, I totally didn't think about it, but no, so it's on my website. So yeah, if anyone wants to check it out, they just go to peacockchiropractic.com and they can they can see it there and they can buy it if they want to.
Maybe we can get you to put it in a book. It's not that expensive or hard to do that, a self-published book.
I know, actually I thought about that, and that's definitely on my mind. I actually want to come up with like a dessert ebook too, because I just love baking too. I love cooking, but I really love baking, coming up with ways to make them like salt, oil, sugar free. So yeah, I'm thinking once I come up with that, maybe I'll do both of them and I'll make it into kind of more of a book style thing instead of an ebook for sure. So.
That would be great. So I see on your website you have wellness coaching. What is that like? Is it one-on-one? Is it in a group?
Yeah. So the wellness coaching that I do is, so it's one-on-one, it's virtual, work with anyone, anywhere. I've worked with people internationally, all over the country, even here just in Southern California. So, which is really nice. So it's over Zoom is how I do it. And so basically what I do is go through a full history with you and discover, okay, like, so what are your goals? So are you transitioning into plant-based? Are you looking to transition to lose weight, get healthier, have more energy? We just discuss all those different types of things. And essentially what I do is I come up with meal plans and easy ways for you to be able to implement that into your lifestyle, right? Like I said earlier, we're all super busy. We have different, jobs, everything about everyone's life is going to be different. So it's individualized, right? Each recipe for you. And it's easy too. So I'm not going to give you some extravagant recipe that's like 20 ingredients or more. So that's essentially what I do. The first consult, 60 minutes, and then the follow-ups are 30 minutes. And I give you recipes, meal plan, as well as I'm basically there for accountability. So I give you my number and you can just reach out to me whenever you want if you have any questions, if you're grocery shopping and you have a question or you're just curious about how to make something different. I'm always here to basically be there to answer the question for you. As well as with athletes too, right? Like I mentioned earlier, I love working with athletes too. So my goal is to really try to help people just transition to plant-based overall, whatever their goal is, but especially for athletes, because there's this huge notion out there that, you need to eat your protein, your meat protein, right, and your dairy to be strong and to be able to perform at the best level possible, which is not true at all. So there's so many ways that you can implement that as a plant-based athlete. And it's better because you're anti-inflammatory, right? So you're allowing for better recovery in between training sessions. So yeah.
Nice. Well, it's nice to have a doctor that writes you recipes instead of prescriptions.
I should make that my slogan. I'm learning a lot from you, Chef AJ, today. A lot of good ideas.
Well, hey, seriously, I'll talk to you anytime for free. That's how my brain works. I'm an idea person. Yeah, that's was my minor in college was marketing, and I'm always thinking of good ideas for other people. So that's please feel free to call or text anytime. Actually, my husband and I actually do teach some business classes we wear another hat. So I just like thinking creatively,
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it. Thank you.
It's my favorite thing. Yeah, well, you just are so delightful. I wish you every success in Southern California. TrueNorth's loss is Dana Point's gain. And I love your idea of mobile chiropractic. Maybe you could be the start of it, just have all the vans and send everybody out. Take
exactly.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. Yeah. And I love your Instagram. I only follow about 50 people. I just don't have time to follow anymore, but you are very lucky because I have friends that won't talk to me because I won't follow them on Instagram because I just don't have very much time for social media, like minutes a day basically now. And so, but I do love your beautiful photos of your food, which is why you got asked back to do a recipe.
Oh, thank you so much. I'd love to come back on and do another recipe. Let me know.
That is my favorite. I got to be honest. I love doctors and I love when they do the PowerPoint, but the recipes are my favorite just because I'm a chef. What can I tell you? Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Peacock, for coming back.
Thank you for having me. It was such a pleasure to be on again today.
It is my pleasure. And thank you all of you seriously for watching another episode of Chef AJ Live. I so appreciate you guys being here every day or as much as you can. We have a bonus show today. It's going to be more recipes with our favorite balsamic vinegar from Thomas Allen. I believe he's using raspberry vinegar today. And he's got a lot of great recipes in store at 2:00. Thanks again, Dr. Peacock. Take care.
Bye.